When a divorce happens a second time, you start questioning yourself. And that's a really good thing, actually. Ideally, never put the blame on anybody else. But you should wonder that if I'm the common denominator here, what is it that I need to shift within myself? That is where I think the real journey of healing starts.
Welcome. You're watching YanaTV, where we have our authentic conversations with conscious and impactful people of Asia. My name is Yana Fry, and today in the studio with us, I have Pooja S. Kumar, who has been very kind to agree to come here and share her personal story. And we're going to talk about wellness, well-being, mental health, how a woman is going through divorce and overcoming that, and how do you deal with egos and chaos at work. So let's dive in. Why do you feel that is important?
Well, we're in a constant state of change in the world that we live in, and we have to manage our inner peace at every given point of time because everything around us is moving. I have followed meditation that helped me, different variations of meditation, be it guided, be it chakra cleansing, etc. And it has constantly helped me in maintaining a peace and maintaining the equilibrium within, whether it is with my personal relationships, whether it is with work, whether it is in general in the walk of life.
You know that I'm a big advocate for meditation and just mental health awareness and all kind of conscious practices. So it's exactly my alley in terms of what you were saying. And because I would love that to be normal for many more people.
Yes.
So maybe you can share with us, why did you actually come to meditation?
It goes back to 2015. I was going through the beginning of a separation for my marriage, so it was slowly breaking down and leading towards divorce. So what did happen is I came across chakra cleansing. One thing led to another. I learned Reiki. What it helped me with really with chakra cleansing, which was the first thing that I really started with, was more of surfacing the negative energy and bringing it outside. It's almost like every emotion that you were suppressing without you slowly starts coming out. And that is literally the beginning of healing. Because what you don't know, you cannot heal.
And we also know this from the psychology, right? It's a famous, square for the psychology. People can also look it up actually in Google. Yeah. Where it says there's a big part of our healing, like I don't know what I don't know.
Exactly.
And it's exactly what you are saying.
Exactly, yeah.
It is not easy when we talk about divorces, and at the same time, I would say, unfortunately, it is a very common thing these days, and probably more and more. What was your experience, and how did you deal with that?
I was married before, back in 2000, and I was quickly divorced, moved to Singapore, and then thereafter, much later, I would say 11 years later, I got married again the second time. When a divorce happens the second time, you start questioning yourself. And that's a really good thing, actually. You should ideally never put the blame on anybody else, but you should wonder that if I'm the common denominator here, what is it that I need to shift within myself? And that is where I think the real journey of healing starts, because when you start looking within is when you will make those changes. Frankly speaking, I truly believe that everything that you have within, if you can change that around, everything around you will change as you would like it to.
I fully support this belief. It's also part of actually pretty much many mystical schools and teachings, especially in the East. Even again, in the West, they also talk about that. So when you went on this journey, on the self-healing journey, what did you realize about yourself?
All throughout my life, I always do scream out and say, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, which is great. But do you really love yourself? And when I was going through my healing, everybody kept saying, oh, there's got to be self-love and self-love. And frankly, I didn't understand that till much later. And what I really understood is self-love is choosing better for yourself every time. If it requires having boundaries and removing yourself from toxic situations or removing toxic people from your life. They might even not be toxic people, but they might just not be right for you. I think the most important thing I learned is, how do I manage everything around me? Being happy within, and choosing right for myself. And choosing right really requires discipline, whether for me choosing right, and I'm still working on it. This is really, it's not a 1 day or a 1 year job. It is for the rest of your life, where you have to maintain discipline about whether it's eating healthy, whether it is your little workouts, and also making sure that you give yourself enough time. When I say give yourself enough time, do you spend time alone? Are you comfortable with your solitude? So I definitely do at least minimum of 2-3 holidays by myself. I take myself out on dates. So which is a great thing, because now I don't need company. I enjoy company.
You choose it when
yes,
you want
I choose
to.
it. And I think I would love that for every human being, that you should be comfortable in your skin and not fill your void with social media, or just get out for the reason because you're getting bored in your company.
It is also very common for people to get into relationships out of fear.
That's
or
very true.
because they're not comfortable to be with themselves. And there's
That's
this illusion that if I'm with someone, somehow I feel less lonely, less inadequate.
Yes.
Perhaps happier, and then we place that happiness on the other person, and it never works, right? I mean, that just never works.
Yeah.
And all of those teachings constantly say that find happiness within, what you
Yes.
said, love yourself,
Yes.
find this,
Yeah.
become your best friend and date yourself and
Yes.
be your best company.
Yeah.
And then the partner becomes a wonderful bonus,
Yes.
but not necessity. This
Yeah.
is what we are saying here.
Yes.
And that's how you create a long-lasting relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you went through all of this. You mentioned two very important things. One was creating and sustaining healthy boundaries, and two, removing toxic people from your life.
Yes.
Let's just dive into both, because I find it's important, and also people often struggle with both.
Yes.
So especially I find women across many cultures that often women just struggle to have healthy boundaries. So how did you manage to create yours?
I think the most important thing is you have to be firm with your no. We're doing a lot of things constantly to please other people when we don't want to do it ourselves. I learned one way of figuring out what I really want. And through my meditation, when I take a few deep breaths and go into a zone, I ask myself, do I really want to be at that party? And frankly speaking, your gut is always speaking to you. Your gut, if it expands, sure, go for it. But if your gut contracts, I promise you, let it go. You're not going to feel good. This is an intuition. We don't take our intuition seriously. We really should. I think all of us have so many powers. We just don't, because in the running around in the rat race, we're not listening to ourselves, what we really want. And when you constantly keep doing what other people want, you will not be able to manage your boundaries. You'll never have the real peace of mind that you want for yourself.
And I love how you also brought in here the body intelligence,
Yes,
right? When we talk about intuition and just more than intuition, because you said, let's fill in our gut, which is very much body awareness. And actually, I think it's also, they talk a lot about, the intuition apparently lives in our tummy.
Yes.
And we even, I think there's this conversation about different intelligences. Like we have the brain, but we also have like an intelligence literally in our tummy, which one of the most ancient ones. It's like a different type of awareness, right?
It is, yeah.
And so I love how you said to just check in, how your body feels before any decision.
Yeah.
And so this is so important. So you do it through the meditation.
Yes, it's a lot of breath work that, I do on a regular basis. And when you kind of slow down or actually stop the thoughts in your head, it's hard work. It doesn't happen on day one. But the most important thing, like I mentioned, is discipline. You have to keep trying. And also, don't be hard on yourself. There will be days when you can't stop those thoughts. So again, going back to self-love, don't hate yourself for it. It's okay. Acceptance. When you accept it, you calm down, and then the thoughts will stop at some stage. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. Keep trying.
I love that too. Toxic people.
Toxic people, yeah.
Which is a really triggery subject, the whole other way.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Now, a toxic person may not be toxic for other people. So when I say toxic, I don't want to tell somebody is a terrible person. I'm just saying that person might not be right for your energies, right? So the easiest way to figure that out, and if we're talking about from a spiritual perspective and your gut and your body, and I'll just lace it back around there, is that you will feel drained after spending time with that person, or you won't be elated or energetic after spending time with that person. So that's how you recognize these people, you know. And as you keep trying these practices, you'll find your body telling you sooner than later, okay? But how do you keep them out? You keep minimal interaction with them. Of course, we have to, when it comes to work or it comes to social gathering, you have to, show up. You have to engage. You can't just walk away and say, sorry, you're toxic, so I'm leaving. Doesn't happen that way. But you can choose how much time and how much of your energy you're putting into it.
When I listen to me, you talk like a spiritual guru. So may I ask, what is it that you actually do?
Okay, so I am a legacy planning consultant for high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals.
I think you're the most enlightened legacy planning consultant I have met in my life. So that's quite interesting. I mean, with the job, which I know a little bit about, just because we also live in Singapore, you probably deal a lot with difficult people sometimes. Let me put it this way. Not going to say anything about your clients, but often these people would come probably with the ego and they have high demands. And so how do you deal with people like that?
So not everybody is difficult. The situations can be difficult, and of course with it comes ego management of several people, and it wouldn't just be those people, it would be everybody that you're working with. Everybody needs to feel good about themselves, and at the end of the day, I would say I'm a bit of a chaos coordinator, and it comes back to how I keep my peace, because there are moments when I want to flare up and I want to say my piece, but I always go back to one thing, which is shifted I would say the way I work and what is my intent here. It's also how you live your life. What is your intent? How do you want to live your life? I treat my job in exactly the same fashion. So I could easily tell you that legacy planning or wealth creation, but the words I choose is creation of abundance. So my intent is to help people, whether they're ultra high net worth or not, doesn't matter, but the intent is to help them. When you shift how you see them and you understand their struggles, you operate differently.
I think it's also just so relatable to so many. How do you deal with people's egos and at home and at work, because it applies right everywhere. And how do you deal with chaos? And I know that you have a very full, very busy life. And as you're sharing your story, I'm just kind of reminding myself, like one of the kind of life hacks that I learned along the way dealing with people. Like I'm a very short-tempered person. I like things to be very done quickly and in the perfect way. So when people are not up to my level, I can lash out at times. So which I also then remind myself to stay calm and be at peace. And what I learned over the years, instead of sort of just going, how did you do that so badly? I take a deep breath and I go, please help me to understand. Why did you do it that way? And what I learned that often people actually had a very good reason that I have not thought about until they told me. So what could be perceived also as mistake by others, often it is not a mistake, it's a different way of thinking. And it's important, I find, especially when in a leadership position, that we have to keep this mind very open, that everyone thinks in a different way. And the way, it's not right or wrong.
You're so right. You're so right. Because we don't know what the other person has gone through to have that thought process. Till we don't ask, we won't know. The right thing is never assume, always ask.
If you were to give advice to yourself right now at this moment where you are in your life, what would you say?
I would say I truly have control over everything that I want to create in my future. So there is absolutely zero need to be stressed out and have anxiety, because I can create literally everything I want.
And that was Pooja S. Kumar on YanaTV. So thank you so much for coming today. And we spoke about a lot in this time. We covered mental health, how to deal with divorce, how to deal with people who have strong egos, how to deal with chaos, what is your daily practices, how do you find and sustain inner peace. And I do hope you find it highly inspirational. Comment below, what did you learn the most? And you can connect with all of us in the description below. Make sure to subscribe and like the channel, and I see you next time.
easily said than done.
I'm like, yeah, and people would go, like, how do you do that, right?